welcome to my channel Crime in Court. My name is Heather and I'm here with a Delphi update. So if you have been following along or not, there's been a lot of crazy things going on in the Delphi case out of Indiana where two little girls were found unalived, and it took 5 years for them to arrest the suspect that they have now. And a lot of his rights seem to have been trampled on. Whether he's guilty or not, he still has rights. And the way that he's been treated, it's come out in some reports from their previous attorneys. Richard Allen had his attorneys were on the case with him for the last year or so. They put in a ton of time and effort on this case, and they put together this report, a motion basically, that was revealed out to the public about how they suspect that the unalivings were not done by Richard Allen, but he actually names certain suspects and names people that are involved in this Odinist religion / cult where they worship the god Odin, and they bow to Thor. And it's a really, if you're not familiar with it, it's kind of strange looking into it, but it happens. It's out there. And for us to deny that it could be possible for this kind of organization to have some kind of ritualistic sacrifice, it might, things come from somewhere, like fairy tales and nightmares come from somewhere. So these things are happening in real life somewhere, but we are most likely covering them up, or they've been in the dark and been covered up for centuries. Well, anyways, so these attorneys, Andrew Baldwin and Rosie is his last name. I can't think of his first name off the top of my head, but they were, because they put forth this motion, it seemed like it was met very poorly by the judge, and she very shortly declared that they were incompetent, and she basically forced them to withdraw from the case as Richard Allen's attorneys. However, the things that there was also a leak, a photo leak of the crime scenes, which was attributed to Andrew Baldwin's office. So I'm sure she's attributing that as one of the main factors why they were incompetent, but Rosie had nothing to do with that, so he shouldn't have been kicked off. And it wasn't like they reached such egregious levels of misconduct that they should have been kicked off. And they didn't have a hearing about it either, which is where the due process came in. So I hope I kind of clarified that, and that's kind of where we're at. If you're following, then this was all recap, and hopefully you just kind of fast forwarded through me. But anyways, so we're going to talk about what happened yesterday. So Richard Allen had his the attorneys for Richard Allen attended this hearing with the Indiana Supreme Court, and they argued why Baldwin and Rosie should be put back on. So it's also in favor of what Richard Allen wants. He, without question, emphatically stated he wanted Andrew Baldwin and Rosie to represent him. He, even after, Judge Gull took them off the case. So it is what the defendant wants, and he has rights too, and his rights are being trampled on by taking away the lawyers that he feels comfortable with, that he's been working with for the last 12 plus months. So anyways, and all of this delayed his trial, which they were ready to go this month. The defense attorneys wanted to push for a speedy trial, and it could be said or argued that allegedly the judge pulled this move to get out of that speedy trial because the prosecution might not have what it takes to prosecute him. So they might be doing some backpedaling, but in a weird and illegal way. So anyways, I don't know. I'm just saying what I've been observing of what I'm watching this case. I'm not alleging anybody of any illegal conduct. So this article was written by Barbara McDonald from Court TV, and I just want to go over what happened yesterday at the Supreme Court. So Delphi, Indiana, Richard Allen, the Indiana man charged with the 2017 unalivings of Abigail Williams and Liberty German, is getting part of what he asked for from the Indiana Supreme Court in a decision that came less than 4 hours after the hearing wrapped Thursday. So the decision came very quickly. A majority of the justices granted Allen's request to reinstate the defense team removed by the trial judge, that's Goal. In an unanimous decision, the judges rejected Allen's request for a new judge and a trial date within 70 days. So, unfortunately, he did not get part of what he was asking for. He wanted, because he was asking for the trial to proceed within, his speedy trial limitations. He's asking, again, can I get that put back on? Like, I want my speedy trial. And they rejected that. He also wanted the judge who took his attorneys off without due process, let's say. There was no due process because there should have been a hearing as to what misconduct or negligent acts the defense team may have committed. So because that never happened and they were just kind of basically forced to resign or withdraw, then I forgot where I was going with that. Sorry. Anyways, so yeah, they didn't oh my gosh, I don't remember what I was saying. Anyways, so he didn't get Gull taken off either from the case because, well, that would have been good if he had, because she took them off, without the due process. That's what I was saying. So unfortunately, Judge Gull is still going to be the trial judge, at least for now. I don't know. There might be something they can do in the lower courts to get her taken off, or, ask her to reconsider recusing herself. Maybe they can ask her to reconsider recusing herself, because they did ask her to recuse herself in the past and she said no. And maybe they can revisit that. I don't know. I would try everything to get her off. I wouldn't want to come in front of her for this case after what she did, if I was Richard Allen or if I was either of the attorneys. All right, so anyways, on Thursday, the Supreme Court heard oral arguments in an original action brought on behalf of Allen, so Allen and his attorneys. Chief Justice Loretta Rush closed the hearing by saying a decision from the court would be issued, quote, as soon as possible, end quote. 3 hours and 45 minutes later, the court issued its ruling. Allen sought relief from the High Court in November of last year after the trial judge removed Bradley Rosie and Andrew Baldwin for gross negligence. But there's no definition, like that was never defined. What is the gross negligence? So Special Judge Fran Gull appointed two new public defenders, Robert Scremin and William Libredo, and pushed the trial back almost a year to allow them time to prepare. So because she took the two off the case who were ready to go, they were ready to go to trial in January, and she takes them off, and now there's two new lawyers who have to get up to date with the case, and they have to figure out their strategy. It's a brand new, like it almost like resets itself time. So Richard Allen has to sit in jail if he's innocent for another year for nothing. And even if he isn't innocent and he did do it, which I do not suspect he did, but that's my opinion based on what I've been reading about this case. But anyways, even if he did do it, it's not justice for the girls. It's not justice for the families by making this go on even longer. So I believe there needs to be a remedy to pull the trial back up, because she had scheduled it for some time in October of this year. And that was October of last year, I believe, or November of last year. So he's already wasted, November, December, January, because of all the holidays and everything, and trying to get these motions and everything in order. It's already been another 2 months. So this is how the criminal justice system goes. And I really think we need to shine a light on this, because I don't think it's right or it's fair. And I don't think it's the best system. It might be a decent system, but it's not the best system. And we have plenty downfalls that we should be looking at. Anyways, I'll get off my high horse. Sorry. So Allen alleged in court filings that Gull overstepped her authority and due process in removing Rosie and Baldwin, and violated his constitutional right to a speedy trial by pushing the criminal trial back from January to October of this year. So, just like I was saying, it takes away his rights for a speedy trial by what she did. So before the removal, Rosie and Baldwin alleged in court filings that Allen was being treated inhumanely in a maximum security prison's protective unit, and that law enforcement lied in obtaining a search warrant for his home prior to his arrest. So that's one of the things that Judge Gull adamantly called them liars for, is the way that Richard Allen was being treated in the prison system. They were saying that he was being mistreated, and almost to the point where he would be getting beatings, and he's not being treated fairly. He's not being treated like another suspect in a case. He's not even convicted of the crime. He's a suspect. So anyways, she chose to not believe them about the way that the prison guards and the corrections officers were treating Richard Allen. However, now that the new lawyers are on Richard Allen's case, they actually put in a motion that I just read the other day on my channel about how they were asking to get Richard Allen removed from where he's at now. It's a far distance, plus it takes forever to get through security, and he's also being mistreated there. And he wasn't even able to have a private conversation with his attorneys, because the guards set it up so that they would have to scream at each other, and they were being monitored the whole time. So that's another thing. So check out that other video. I'll post it here if when I post this video, so you can go back and look at that. Anyways, let's keep going. I stop and talk a lot. Rosie and Baldwin also stated in filings that they'd be mounting a third-party defense, suggesting white nationalist members of a Nordic religion more likely unalived the girls, and that information was overlooked by investigators. And that's what their big motion, the Odinist motion, was, that came out last, I want to say October or so, and that's what kind of jump-started all of this. And it's very interesting, and it's a good read. If you guys would like me to go over it, let me know in the comments below, and I will. It's very interesting to look at. All right, so Abigail Williams, 13, and best friend Liberty German, 14, disappeared while walking on a then-abandoned railroad trestle connected to the Delphi historic trails. So it was on Monon High Bridge. A Snapchat photo taken by Libby showed Abby walking on the bridge minutes before they were encountered by a man in a blue jacket and jeans who ordered them, saying, "Guys down the hill," is supposedly the quote. And the law enforcement releases the video here, it's saying here, a 42-second video of that encounter was found on Libby's cell phone next to her body. The girls' bodies were discovered by volunteer searchers the day after they went missing on private property a quarter of a mile from the bridge. And they were in a very difficult spot to get to, and they would have had to cross the creek or river. I don't know what land of or what body of water it is, but they would have had to cross it, and it seemed highly unlikely. So it's just questionable how the girls got there in the first place. Did the guy force them to go across the river? Like, we don't know. So there's a lot of questions in this, in the discovery of the evidence, and yeah. All right, so the crime remained unsolved for nearly 6 years until Allen's arrest in October of 2022. Prosecutors say Allen admitted to being on the trails that day and generally matches the description of witnesses who saw a man dressed in a blue jacket and jeans on the trails. They also say an unspent .40 caliber round found between the girls' bodies was ejected from Allen's Sig Sauer pistol recovered during the search of his home. So they found a gun in Allen's home, and law enforcement is trying to tie this particular bullet casing that's unspent to Richard Allen when the ballistic forensics is completely unreliable, in my opinion, and there's no way to really know for sure. It's junk science. Anyways, so ballistics is junk science, but they're trying to tie it to this bullet that was found by the girls. However, the girls were not shot. They were, I believe, stabbed. So that makes no sense that he would have a bullet, I don't know, a bullet casing, an unspent round. Anyways, and the other thing I was going to say about this paragraph, okay, so prosecutors say Allen admitted to being on the trails that day. Well, no kidding, because he went to law enforcement trying to help them by telling them what he observed that day, because he admitted to going there on his lunch break. He was a pharmacist at a nearby pharmacy. He went there for his lunch break and went for a nice, peaceful walk. Or so he thought. It would have been the walk of his life that he regretted, because he told law enforcement that he was there and tried to give descriptions of other people that he saw that day and what he encountered. But instead of them listening to his statements and, taking it at any kind of, giving it any kind of credibility, they turned it around and said, oh, you admit you were there, so you're the guy that did it. And now he's sitting in jail for over a year. He's been sitting there since last October. Okay. Anyways. Rosie and Baldwin raised the issue of Allen's pretrial treatment behind bars multiple times, saying he was living in hell and being treated as if he was already convicted of the crime. That is true. They're treating him like he's already a convicted felon, and he's in jail or prison instead of, the county jail. He's in a prison for the maximum I don't know if he's maximum security, but he's in like these tighter security prisons for people who do unalivings and commit these horrible, atrocious acts. And Allen is, in my opinion, he is innocent until proven guilty. So, and he has not been proven guilty to me at this time. And I know there hasn't been a trial yet, but there's a lot of doubt. A lot of reasonable doubt. Anyways. Allen's new defense team also raised the issue in a motion to transfer request this month. So like I said, his new attorneys wanted to move Allen into a county jail, which would be more appropriate for someone who has not been convicted of a crime yet. All right, so asking the trial judge to relocate Allen to a county jail. Most pretrial defendants are housed in county jails. After Allen's arrest, the Carroll County Sheriff asked that he be moved because their small facility couldn't guarantee Allen's safety in such a high-profile case. All right. Also on Thursday, new documents were filed in his criminal case amending the charges against him. Previously, he was charged with 2 counts of unaliving for Abby and Libby during an attempted kidnapping. Prosecutor Nicholas McClellan is requesting that they add 2 more counts of unaliving, of intentional unaliving, and 2 counts of kidnapping for each victim. So they're adding to Allen's charges on top of everything else. But at least he got his old lawyers back, and I think that is a win. I wanted to quickly switch over to this page because it gives you a little decision. It gives you the decision from the Supreme Court here. This is 13 WTHR News, which I'm assuming is a local network. All right, so the decision reads in part, having considered the written submissions and having heard the arguments of counsel, a majority of the court votes to grant the petition for writ as the realtor's request to reinstate attorneys Baldwin and Rosie as his court-appointed counsel. The court unanimously denies all other relief sought. So, again, that was the putting it back into the 70-day window and removing Gull. They denied doing either of those things. So at least at this point, Baldwin and Rosie have been reinstated and they can start back up where they left. They can, now they have to kind of backtrack and get Allen to, well, they got to get him to a safe spot, but they also have to deal with Gull still at this moment, because that is still an issue at hand. Interestingly, what if the Supreme Court throws his back down at Gull and Gull says, I'm going to kick him off anyways? So what is the remedy to that? I don't really know. They have to have a hearing at least, and findings have to be made egregious enough to kick them off. So I don't think she would try it again, just because I don't think she wants to go to the Supreme Court either. But who knows? Maybe she's bored and this is fun for her. I don't know. I'm just speculating on my part. But anyways, let me know what you guys think of Richard Allen. Do you think that he is being railroaded by law enforcement in Delphi? Do you think that Allen should have gotten his attorneys reinstated? What do you guys think? Let me know. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.